excited about being here with you guys and hearing all your answers. So our question is, what do you see as the number one concern with workplace environments today? And Dr. Shah, we'll go ahead and get started with you.
I think the number one concern is, as Julie brought up, kind of just this workload and the balance. Because since COVID, I think there's been a shift in our awareness about how imbalanced we've been living. And when we've moved to this model where we were like, now we're working from home and now we've got a hybrid, it's this awareness that's been brought about how much time are we spending commuting? How much time are we not spending at home with our families, not taking care of ourselves? How much time are we actually spending at work? Do we need these meetings? And I think that's really what it is.
I would build on that answer because we have burnout experts here. And that was my gut reaction. But I think where I see it is that this balance trickles into every other part. So where you see it come up is a job posting that's 2,000 words long because we have just added things. Julie mentioned that, right? Oh, HR just does everything. Do this and this and this and this. And we have these wish lists instead of real lists. You read the website where they write about benefits and it sounds like, they're selling a little too hard. And turns out what's happened over the last 2 years, I believe, we've seen this great resignation. And I don't want to go into the cliche topics, but the motivation behind that is that, I'll be blunt, we have bullshit detectors. For the first time in our life, we were told that we had power, that we were allowed to say no, that we're not going to do that anymore. And we all have stories like that of transformation caused by empowerment. And so I think where, I guess the thing that I would point out, right, is noticing how we have to evolve in real time for the balance issues and the burnout issues that are now under a microscope and how that's reflected in everything we do.
Well, I'm going to chime in for a second because I'm going to take it left wing, right wing, somewhere else. I agree with what was said so far. But to me, it's actually the environment. It is who is around you. What does the office actually look like? Do I actually want to in the office? Are there plans? And we know that some companies very successfully have addressed some of the issues when we are in the office and have workload and workload, and that's you're allowed to bring your pet to work, or you have the kita right next, the kindergarten, should be speaking English, the kindergarten right next to where you're working. So I think it's the environment and the atmosphere, and that's nothing you can necessarily grasp, like you can grasp words, but it is, do I actually want to be here, or how do I feel when I walk into this office? I think that, and that's of course tied to workload, to pressures and all of that. But to me, that is one of the most important issues, especially when we're now thinking about possibly transitioning back to going into the office.
Yeah, I thought for a second I'd have to just go back to the drawing board because everybody is saying exactly what I wrote down. But I'm going to give it my own words because that's why we're here. And so I came up with this idea because years and years of listening to people and knowing their needs in a way before they know it, because you don't know what you don't know, right? People don't ask the questions, what do I need? They respond to what they don't have. And just for all of the reasons that were already said, how do I feel? I've been allowed to slow down. I've learned what I need. Am I compatible with my new workplace? That's a lot of instability. So the number one thing is uncertainty. We're facing this, which creates a lot of this stress response, and how do we deal with that? Now is the time to deal with that. And is taking the time to be okay with it and giving ourselves permission to decide what is the new stability within myself. No matter where I go, I can fit in because I'm okay with me. And that's how I look at it. And that would be my 2 cents. But it really is, there's a myth in the work, thinking that we can have a work-life balance. It's like sailing or surfing. You're constantly shifting with the new environment. And we have to stop thinking about our health and our workplace as the Ron Popeil said it, and forget rotisserie.
Ooh, that was good. Yes.
Okay, so we all have heard this quote, I think at some point in time, that people don't remember what you did, but they remember how you make them feel. And so for me, I think when we're talking about adding to everything else everyone else has said, because I'm in full agreement. Yes, Maya Angelou. So for me, I think it's about, how do you make me feel when I'm in the workplace or when I'm working from home, right? How do you make me feel? How you lead me matters. What you say to me matters. And I recently wrote a post on LinkedIn, because that's where I live. And I essentially said, if they shout at you, if they're dismissive, if they say hurtful things, if they I call it throwing their toys out of the pram, right? That's what children do. And some managers do that. Some employees do that. If they're doing those things to you, that's abuse. They are abusing you, and there's no acceptable. I will not take that you have had such a bad day that you felt the need to tell me go F myself or go screw myself, or, that I should die. And those are things that people tell HR people. There's no reason that you should key my car because you are not happy with what I've said to you. So how you make me feel. What is my experience? What is the experience that people have with me? When I work with people every single day, I think you should have the best experience possible with me. I want to put a smile on your face. And even if the conversation is hard, I want to make you feel as comfortable and as safe as possible to have that conversation with me. If you're not doing that for your people, that adds to the burden that they already have of this work that needs to be done. And if the place is gray and gloomy, and I'm so glad that Dr. Forrest raised that point, because I am a huge believer that understanding neurodiversity and how people's brains work at work matters. And I actually coach for understanding with neuroscience in mind, right? So everything I say impacts your brain in some way. And if my environment does not fit that, it's a problem. So tied to how you make me feel, and then the environment is gloomy, my workload is heavy, you're giving me all of this stress and all of this aggro, then I can't. How do I work well? I cannot work well. I cannot thrive. And the last thing I would add to, in addition to what Dr. Forrest said about how the place looks, but is it comfortable though? I am fat and I am proud. I'm not gonna, I don't feel bad for being fat. No one can make me feel bad for being a fat Black woman. However, when I can't fit in a chair, that is a problem. That's telling me you don't want me to belong. If I cannot fit in a cubicle and I gotta twist my butt to get in, that is a problem. You're telling me I don't belong. All of those things impact the way I work and how I work, and they all matter.
Okay, I need to do a standing ovation on that, but I can't with how I'm set up. That's why. But I want to jump in with the next question, and I'm directed toward